Now to a huge political battle in the Supreme Court, which could swing the national balance of power to Democrats. And an exclusive on the beat tonight, we're about to hear from the attorney who argued in the Supreme Court today, taking on Republicans in a case he says tests democracy itself. Now, the context for this blockbuster case is all about the Democratic deficit in America right now. Consider that in many places, more voters prefer the Democrats, that nationwide, millions more voters backed Clinton over Trump, and that in the U.S. Senate, Democratic senators represent 36 million more people than Republicans. Yet even when Democrats do win more votes, often it is Republicans who take power. And that is because the system is rigged by the right, according to challengers at the Supreme Court today. They point to Wisconsin, where in 2012, Democrats won about 51% of the vote for the state legislature. Republicans had 48.6%, but took more seats, and not by 1 or 2 points. They turned that 48.6% into 60% of the legislature seats. Now, in court today, veteran litigator Paul Smith argued that kind of outcome isn't merely just shrewd politics. He says it's a potentially illegal effort to undermine democracy. And he implored the justices, quote, "You're the only institution in the U.S. that can solve this problem, just as democracy is about to get worse because of the way gerrymandering is getting so much worse." Now, there's no doubt it's getting worse. Both parties have drawn absurd district lines to rig outcomes.
North Carolina's 12th district looks like spilled coffee. Pennsylvania's 16th is flexing its muscles. And one commentator compared Maryland's 3rd to a broken-winged pterodactyl. And then there's this. They call it the earmuffs.
Now, some states have reformed this kind of rigging. Today, one former California governor went to the court steps to call out gerrymandering and use some of his best movie lines.
It's a system where the politicians are picking the voters rather than the voters picking the politicians.
Yeah, right.
So I say it is time to say hasta la vista to gerrymandering. And it is time to terminate gerrymandering. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Many voting experts agree with Schwarzenegger. They say it's past time for the court to get to the chopper and take action. Now, there are legal reasons why the court is held back. While it patrols blatant political cheating like bribery or election tampering, we all know judges do try to avoid what they consider political questions. And today's hearing shows that gerrymandering has become so blatant, even a conservative Supreme Court may step in many states. A less rigged system, though, would boost Democrats, at least in the short run, because it would return victories to the popular vote victors. That prospect alone, though, clearly worried the court today. Chief Justice John Roberts said in some quite candid remarks, if the court issues a decision, and let's say the Democrats win, people will say, well, why did the Democrats win? It must be because the Supreme Court preferred the Democrats over the Republicans. And that's going to cause very serious harm to the integrity of the decisions of this court. Justice Roberts said that in an exchange today with attorney Paul Smith, who argued before the court for Wisconsin and their Democratic challengers. Very interesting stuff. You have been doing this a long time. You are the person to talk to. How did you counter that fair point that Chief Justice Roberts made?
Well, I basically made the point that we're facing a crisis of democracy, and that gerrymandering has gotten very bad and is about to get an awful lot worse in the next round of redistricting after the 2020 census. With the technology that's now available and with a very polarized and therefore more predictable electorate, you're going to have more people following the lead of Wisconsin, which set up a system that basically decided before anybody voted that one party was going to control the assembly for the full 10 years that the map would be in effect.
So you argued to the court today that basically Republicans rigged Wisconsin so they would win even if they lost. How do you prove something like that?
Well, we had a full trial, and we had a ton of evidence about the way that this map functioned, and it was not that hard to prove. In 2012, they got about, as you said, 48.6% of the vote. They got 60 seats out of 99. And the evidence showed that it would take what the district court, the trial court, called an unprecedented political explosion for the Democrats even to have a chance to get over 50% of the seats in the assembly, even though Wisconsin, of course, is a very 50-50 state.
Right.
And that's why we've had all kinds of people come out and support us in this case, including many Republicans, Senator McCain, Senator Dole, Senator Lugar, Governor Kasich, a lot of people on both sides of the aisle, and the Terminator, of course, who was there on the steps with me. A lot of these people, including many of the leaders of the Republican Party, recognize this problem is completely out of hand. It's producing bad politics, and with if the Supreme Court doesn't step in and finally do something about it, we're going to have nothing. No one can do anything about it. The politicians aren't going to fix it. And,
right. We won't have, to your point, we won't have fair elections. Hang with me. I want to add into our conversation Jeremy Harrison. He's an executive with the DNC, and he formerly chaired the South Carolina Democratic Party and has called gerrymandering the greatest evil we face as a democracy. Sir, your view of this and what the court should do?
Ari, I hope the court will decide that enough is enough with partisan gerrymandering. It's time to get rid of it. It really is the greatest threat to our democracy. It's the reason why we can't get anything done right now. When you think about simple functions of government, paving our roads, making sure that our children have health care, we can't pass that bill. And not only is a problem happening in Washington, D.C., but we're seeing it on a local level. Here in South Carolina, Republicans control the governorship and both bodies of the legislature, and it took them 6 or 7 years just to pass a roads bill. Gerrymandering has gotten so bad that folks are only talking to 20 and 30% of the people who live in their district, and no one else has any impact on them. And enough is enough. We need to take back this for the good of our country. We have to stop having the elected officials choose the people who vote for them.
Paul, if you win, do Democrats then likely win the Congress, and will some folks see this as just more partisanship?
Well, if we win, there will certainly be a tendency to make the vote a lot closer in the House of Representatives. It is true that at least a large part of the deficit of the Democrats in the House is caused by gerrymandering. There'll be other places where Democrats will lose power because they've been the gerrymanderers in Maryland and elsewhere in all likelihood. So I want to make sure we see this as a bipartisan problem and a bipartisan solution. People have come out from both sides of the aisle to try to fix this.
Let's talk about it again when we get the decision, because we'll be covering a big case. Paul Smith, Jamie Harrison, thank you both.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.